Well, something pretty cool just happened. So we put out our first deal of 2020 recently. And as many of you may know, it's an ATM deal available at asymcapital.com. And I just checked, and on the 30th day after we sent out the deal, we had raised $5.4 million. And that's something I'm really proud of. And I really want to take a moment and thank you if you were part of that investment process. And just generally, the listeners of this program have really helped the brand. So I know that you probably enjoy listening to the show, otherwise you would do it, but I do want to thank you because you've allowed me to really do what I feel called to do on this world, which is help people invest in these types of niche, cash flow heavy, predictable outcome type of investments and get money out of the stock market. So thank you. I mean, I am living my best life because of the listeners of this program. And so, I'll always be very, very grateful. First of all. Second of all, it's very cool because that's a significant number. The $5 million mark is significant for a lot of reasons. And especially when, we did not reach out to institutions, family offices. We did not go that route. And there's a lot of reasons for that. We can talk about that in the future Monday Minutes. But the $5 million amount is important because even though this wasn't a real estate deal, that is where things start to get very interesting if it was. This was an ATM deal, like I mentioned, but in the real estate space, let's say you use $5 million for a purchase. It's typically going to be used as a down payment, and that can give you probably about a $15 million purchase. Now, if you're buying a $15 million property in the multifamily sector, for example, and the market dictates that units will go for, let's say, $100,000 per unit, which would be costly, that would grant you 150 units. And that number is unquestionably where the big boys play in this space. And so I was kind of contemplating, I'm trying to have an impact on people's lives and through real estate, whether it be on the investment side or the entrepreneur/operator side. And there's so many people that if they could raise $5 million in 30 days, it would change their life. It would be either their first big 150 unit property or it would be their second or third or 10th property. And this is consequential because when I wrote the book, Raising Capital for Real Estate, I did put everything I know about that topic, at least at the time, in the book. But something I didn't really focus on was just how important it is to be able to build up the attention so that you can raise the money quickly. Because it doesn't matter how much money you can raise. If you can't do it in 30 or 60 days, it's not consequential when it comes to most real estate transactions because they have 60, 120-day escrow, somewhere in that range. And so the time is really, really important. So how do we do this? First of all, it is the first deal of 2020. So there's obviously a lot of interest in the space. Now, we have been very patient in the sense that we said no to a ton of deals. Especially during COVID, we were very skeptical of the way a lot of deals were being underwritten. And that, of course, increases the interest in our opportunities. But perhaps more importantly, from a branding standpoint, people know that I'm leaving money on the table by not transacting, but it's worth it because doing no deal is far better than doing a bad deal. And if you haven't learned that lesson yet, you're going to eventually. So that's the first thing. We also were very focused in terms of the emails that we sent out, driving traffic to a webinar, which would answer probably 95% of the questions that most sophisticated investors would answer. That makes it not be such a burden when it comes to, raising a bunch of money from 50, 60, 70 investors. And so I talk about that a lot in the book, Raising Capital for Real Estate, again, which is available at raisingcapitalforrealestate.com. If you are living under a rock and have not purchased that yet, trust me, it's worth the $8. It is a very detailed approach to a lot of this. Webinars and webinar development and making those interesting and compelling while also being very to the point so that you can answer a lot of those questions. That is the future of capital raising, especially in the COVID times. We're not doing a lot of live events. So being able to communicate effectively through a PowerPoint is more and more important. So what do we have here? Emails, webinars. I have an assistant who is an absolute rock star. Very lean and mean team when it comes to the capital raising side of the business. Now, as you know, the way that we, ASYM Capital, are positioned in the space, we do not administer the business plan. We do not implement the business plan. We find strategic partners that exclusively focus on that. And that's where you get a lot of employees. That's where you get a lot of burdensome overhead and a lot of labor intensive tasks. But in terms of the capital raising side of the business, that is very lean and mean. So you can create a very scalable, potentially lucrative business just acting as a capital placement agent. But again, the key is that you don't make a catastrophic mistake along the way. So that brings me to the thing that I'm very excited about. I can't go into details yet because we're not quite done with it all, but this process has made me learn a lot. And the main thing I want to talk about is that I want to share how to do this exact thing. I want the listeners of this program to have the capacity to raise $5 million in 30 days. So I'm working on a project specifically related to that. And I'm very, very excited about it. It's going to be the kind of thing that I'm probably going to work on for months. And then you'll know about it when it's ready. I'll probably drop some little inklings as we do it. Don't send me a million emails about what it potentially is. But I'm working on something very cool that I think, especially for the price, is going to be well worth it. So keep your eye out. And if you don't yet have a subscription to the Cashflow Connections email list, make sure to do so because it's the kind of thing that's going to be only available for a very short amount of time. And the listeners and subscribers are going to be the first ones to know. So do me a couple favors. Number one, subscribe in iTunes to the Cashflow Connections Real Estate Podcast. And number two, while you're there, please leave us a review. It really, really helps. And go to cashflowconnections.com and subscribe to the show via email if you haven't already done it. Because once I send this email out, similar to the way that the deals get raised very quickly, that's the way that a lot of the things that I do should be done. This is the same thing as launching a company, launching a brand, launching a product, whatever, launching a fund. You want to build interest and then fill it very quickly. So please go to cashflowconnections.com and sign up, and you'll be the first to know when I release this pretty cool project. And thanks again for everyone who invested in this deal. I'm really excited about it. As you probably know, I'm one of the largest investors in the fund, and it's because I really believe in it. I believe in all the deals we do. That's why we do so few. But in this space particularly, I know what it sounds like when there's an opportunity for long-term opportunity, if that makes sense. When I got in the mobile home park business, there were so many naysayers, and it allowed that space to be really open for 5, 6, 7 years before everyone else started to realize it. And I have an inkling that that might be the case in this opportunity as well. You can learn more about the opportunity at asmcapital.com, and hope you enjoyed it.